Welcome to another edition of Oxford Television's way of exploring our school system. We call it Schooling Around. For the next 3 episodes, we're going to dive into the complicated but interesting world of International Baccalaureate, or as they call it down the street, IB. If you would have asked me a few months ago what I knew about IB, I probably would have said something like it must include Chinese. While that can be a part of it, there is much, much more. First of all, IB is a nonprofit educational foundation founded in 1968, focused on kids aged 3 to 19 to help develop intellectual, personal, emotional, and social skills to live, learn, and work in a rapidly globalizing world. This past year, Oxford Schools was among the first public schools in Michigan to obtain IB certification for pre-K through 12th grade. This involved a lot of work by a lot of people over the last 2 to 3 years. We will deal with that as we move on. Today we will deal with the elementary school IB program called PYP. That stands for Primary Year Program. During the next 2 shows, we'll talk about the middle school program, MYP, and the diploma program, or DP. Stay with us for an incredible journey. This year has been an interesting year for our 5th graders. It was their final year in the Primary Years program, which culminated with the 5th grade exhibition. We hear more about this from Assistant Superintendent Dr. Jim Schwarz.
That's correct. All of our schools have received IB authorization within the last year. So from pre-K, from our preschool right through grade 12, a student can stay in that IB program right through the duration of their entire schooling.
Now, there's going to be some special events this month in each elementary school about this, where there's going to be some demonstrations of the kids' abilities. Isn't that right?
That's correct. 5th grade marks sort of an exit from the PYP program and then a segue into the entrance of the MYP program in the middle school that takes place in grade 6. The 5th grade exhibition is one that is sort of a culminating project with every student involved in studying some aspect of some global actionable research issue that really comes as a project, as a reflection of their studies through the Primary Years program that they've been through elementary school. To summarize briefly about the PYP program, all of our curriculum in those elementary programs have been redefined, reorganized to fit 6 common themes that run each year. Those common themes are who we are, so students study relationships, relationships of family, community, get to understand themselves, what it means to be human. They study where they are in place and time, how they express themselves. Students learn how different modes of expression, what's appropriate in circumstances, and in other circumstances. They study about how the world works, through mathematical science concepts, political and social areas as well. How they organize themselves. So students in terms of organizing thoughts, organizing work, organizing approaches to research. And then lastly, sharing the planet, understanding social, political ramifications, and kind of putting that into a context of how we work and live together in this global society. So every every grade level concentrates their curriculum around those 6 themes. And then by the time the child gets to 5th grade, they then reflect upon all of the work they've done in those units and study a research, an actionable project.
Teacher Rita Flynn is in charge of the primary year program. She also has an overview with an angle on mentoring and preparation for middle school.
The International Baccalaureate Program is a program that is really its best practice, and it helps students be well-rounded individuals, and it helps them be global-minded, and it really makes them relatable to all people. So what that means is that if students are learning about communities, they're not just going to learn about Oxford community, they're going to learn about community around the world. And the reason and the purpose for that is for them to be aware of the community they live in and be appreciative of it, and to also have a better understanding of what's happening around them.
Where does this start in the elementary school? What grade do they start getting involved in some of this?
We have them starting in pre-K. So, I mean, they're starting at, even before kindergarten, learning about the IB program at a really early age. So the easiest way to reinforce those characteristics of the learner profile is a good way to start. So caring, open-minded, thinker, being a communicator. We teach them skills that just help them be a good person and help them be well-rounded. So what IB really encompasses in the primary years program are 5 essential elements. So we want them to have transdisciplinary skills, and those skills are communication skills, thinking skills, social skills, research skills, and then we have the learner profile, which is, again, those characteristic traits of being caring and open-minded, and there's a list of them. And then we also have, the curriculum piece. So we include, language arts and science and social studies and math and arts, and so we make sure they have language every day. They either have Chinese or Spanish every single day. So our students will be bilingual by the time they graduate.
And what grade do you start the language phase of this in at?
Right away in kindergarten.
Really?
So exhibition is everything they have learned up to this point in 5th grade in the primary years program. So all of the skills, those 5 essential elements, like I said, gosh, they're so rigorous, but they are masters of them by the time they're in 5th grade. So what they do is they get to pick a topic that they're passionate about on a global issue. Again, they've had information prior to this in every other grade. And
I believe there's 9 topics to choose from, is that right?
No, they can pick from any topic, any global issue.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They can pick from any global issue, and we have parents sign off on them because some topics could be, a topic that maybe a parent is uncomfortable with because, like I said, they're global issues, so some of them are very serious. Mm-hmm. So they range from, like this group in particular has effects of smoking to child hunger to bullying to global warming. It just depends on really what they're passionate about. And the reason for that is if they have ownership of their learning and they get to choose a topic, they really have a lot of enthusiasm towards their learning. So after they pick their topic, and again, they've had exposure to so many topics since they were at a really young age, we really kind of hone in on why they want to pick that topic. And we get support. We don't want just parents to be the mentors of the students, so we go out in the community, and that's where I come in. And I asked the fire department if any volunteers would like to come mentor our students and help guide them in the research. And the research involves having a primary resource. So if we have a student that's studying effects of smoking, we'll find someone that maybe has had bad side effects of smoking come in. We had a dentist, I believe, come in for your group in particular so they could ask questions and get their research for their topic. And then they have to pick action on their topic. So not only do we say, well, you need to pick a topic that you're passionate about, we have to say, well, how are you going to make a difference?
And you try and get these group leaders, you take extreme efforts to get these. I mean, you go to the PTA meetings and various functions to try and recruit people to do this, right?
Yes.
I mean, you want good people, and
yes, you have to be a good people person. But I love people, and I love working with people. So I think that if my passion comes across that this is for a good cause, I think that's how we get people involved, and then it spreads in the community. It's such an intimate view in the classroom, because not any other opportunity do you have community members able to work in the classroom with the curriculum and helping them, guide them in their learning. It's really a special event.
Now, one of the unique things about these group leaders is that they do not have their own children in their group. Is that correct?
No, or maybe they don't even have children at all. We have a firefighter that she's there just out of the kindness of her heart to learn more about our school and to help our students.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the program in general before we move on with these other ladies here?
Well, after they take action, they have to do a research project, and that's a big part of the piece too. And then we have a final day, which is on April 24th, which is our exhibition night. And that's where all the students present what they've learned from the guidance of their mentor and the research they've done and action they've taken, and they present it. And so every single classroom will be open, and they'll all be presenting at the same time. So we have around 150 students that will all present at the same time in a rotation. It's got to be, choreographed a special way, which is what we're doing right now. And we start with an opening ceremony, and it usually highlights all the 5 essential elements of the IB program. And parents come, the community members come. We have 4th grade. We encourage 4th graders to come because they'll be doing it next year. I asked Molly Darnell, our middle years program coordinator, to come and say, this is your graduation from the primary years program. You'll now be going to the middle school, and I'm excited to be working with you there. So we really try to make it a holistic event and a celebration of the students' learning. And then after that, they really get to kind of take a breath and prepare themselves for middle school.
Are there grades given out on these projects or anything? Or
yes, the students have a binder, and they are graded throughout the whole process. And they also have a self-reflection, which they're grading themselves too and being evaluated.
How does this relate to the next phase of the IB program when they get into middle school?
When they get to the middle school, they have something that's called a personal project. So here in exhibition, they have to agree on a topic that they want to take action on. So we try to make it so it's just based on what they're interested in, not based on who their friends are, where their friends are going with their topics. So they fill out a card. I mean, we started in many different steps. They have a card and they put their top 3, and then teachers will say, well, these 3 students will fit in a group. You're all interested in pollution. These 3 students will fit in a group because you're interested in, talking about invasive species. So they have to, that's the difference. They get to work collaboratively, but individually still, but still collaboratively, get to interview collaboratively, get to take their action collaboratively. When they go to the middle school, they have a personal project, and that's done individualized. So it really prepares them to take all the steps they'll have to do in a personal project, but they have the collaboration piece that will really help them with such a huge
So they're getting
project.
off to a good start.
Yes.
Okay. Pat Bono is one of the adult mentors in the PYP program. Her kids dealt with smoking. She shares some thoughts.
I have a group of 3 young ladies. 2 are in one classroom, 1 is in another, a separate classroom. Their topic is the effects of smoking. And all of them have smokers in their home. So, as part of our introduction, we had to talk about how people could feel about smoking, because it is very tender to them. It's in their homes. They want their family members to quit smoking. So in working with them, they have their lines of inquiry, questions that they're going to ask. They interviewed a dental hygienist. We together worked on all the questions, making sure that we were being sensitive to smokers and non-smokers. They talked with a smoker, they talked with a non-smoker, and then we've come together and looked at the results together. We worked on the questions they were going to ask to make sure that they would be appropriate. I sat in on the interview with the dental hygienist, and the kids did great. Questions were great.
This was really a very personal issue, since they were dealing with somebody in their own home.
It's very personal, and it's very sensitive.
You didn't get any hate mail from that, did you?
No. We approached it in a very positive way, in a very understanding way. So I think the kids learned a lot about that too. As much as they want their parents or their family members to quit, they also realize there's reasons why they smoke.
I imagine you saw some change in emotion with the kids from the
Yes.
time they started. I imagine you're a little uneasy at first.
Yes, they were.
But then did things get easier for them as the project went on?
Things got very comfortable for
Good.
all of us, yes.
Good. Well, let's hope some good comes out of it. Very
I
good.
hope.
Mentor Andrea Boehner's group studied access to education.
I'm working with 3 girls in Mrs. Kroll's class, and their topic that they chose is access to education
Okay, Mrs. Kroll's class, she's in what school?
at Oxford Elementary.
Oxford
OES.
Elementary, okay.
And the topic is access to education, and they are looking at just the differences that children have, both locally, because they did do an interview with Mrs. Kraniak, who now is retired from OES and works down in Detroit Public Schools. So she came up and talked to them about just the differences and what it's like to go to school in Detroit and the challenges those kids face versus things that they have here or locally in our community. And they're also looking globally, and they're doing research as far as like education in Haiti. And one of the girls' fathers, through his church, took a trip to Haiti. He's actually just got back. So they're getting information from him as well, just as far as what education is like in that country, the challenges they face, what the children don't have.
Have they been surprised?
I think so. I think the topic when they discussed Detroit was eye-opening. It was a group, and there were several groups with different topics, poverty as well as education. But I think that they just didn't realize what some children don't have compared to them. So it was eye-opening, and it was a good experience, and I think they enjoyed.
Are the kids anxious about the exhibition that's coming up?
I think so. I meet with them this afternoon, so they had a little break over spring break. Yeah. But I think they are. I got they started doing their written portion, and I was reading those last night. And then I know they're starting to work on their presentations, right, this week, so.
Now, we visited Oxford Elementary to see how some of the groups were coming along and preparing for their IB exhibition. Let's listen in.
My topic is drunk driving for exhibition, and almost 28 minutes, people die over alcohol effects.
Every 28 minutes someone dies, is that right, from alcohol?
Yes.
What did you do for your research? How did you find out all of this?
I went on to MAD, M-A-D-D, and I went on to CDC.com.
Okay.
And MAD means Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and for our action we're selling ribbons and stuff, and we're gonna have an assembly.
You're going to have an assembly. Oh, good idea. Okay. And what about you?
Well, I'm doing texting and driving, and what most parents don't realize when they text and drive is their kids, they see their parents text and drive, and they grow up and do the same thing.
It's a dangerous thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and in 2011, at least 23% of crashes involve cell phones.
23%. That's a lot.
Our group is about why we should stop fracking and why fracking is bad. My inquiry is why people are fracking. The two reasons are they make a lot of money from it, and they get oil and natural gas from it.
Okay.
My line of inquiry is how does hydraulic fracturing work? And they drill a hole about 10,000 feet into the ground, and then they use over 40,000 chemicals and 2 to 4 million pounds of water and over 12 tons of sand.
You're going to do a skit about what?
Child hunger.
About child hunger. Okay. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's set up as a TV interview, and we're doing it for exhibition, and we tell about our action.
And what is your action?
we pass out business cards. And we do a test on WFP.org, and you have to take a test. If you do the test and put in your email, you give a meal to a child.
Next, IB Exhibition Night arrives, and we stop in. Stay tuned.
Everywhere you turn in Oxford is a new opportunity for fun. From the sandy beaches of Stony Lake and Scripter to the many different sporting events and other recreational activities held at Seymour Lake Park. For those who like long walks, you can find yourself exploring the Pollyant Trail throughout Oxford's more scenic areas. And if it's seclusion you like, look no farther than Oakwood Lake Park. So bring your family or friends out to see one of our beautiful parks today.
The time has come. Oxford Elementary is ready for its second International Baccalaureate exhibition. Let's take a look at how it went.
Helping stray dogs today. There's a couple ways to help stray dogs, and I'm going to give you one. One, you could put food and water down so the stray dog can have something to eat and drink. Second, you can call a dog rescue and adoption center so they can get the dog, make sure it's safe, and get the shots that they need, and probably give a dog to one of us who wants it.
Before we answer questions, we would like to take a survey about distracted driving. Please turn on your clicker. Have you ever texted while driving? A, yes, B, no. The correct answer was no, and 12 people said yes, 6 people said no. Here are some chemicals used in fracking. They use benzene and methane and over 40,000 more chemicals. Now some good facts about fracking. Fracking can provide 300,000 gallons of natural gas per fracture, and they only lose 3%. The natural gas is used to heat houses. Ukraine, Russia, Germany, and the USA, we do the most fracking, so we will sell the gas to any company, any nation who is in the United Nations. And then they will offer you $100,000 if you let them fracture on your land. Thank you. And now Noah with why people frack.
People are fracking because they get oil, natural gas, and most of all money. And like Luke mentioned, they get $100,000 for the drillers to frack on their land.
Hello, my name is Jared, and my inquiry is an inquiry into how hydraulic fracturing works, or fracking works. The earth is being affected by earthquakes, water pollution, and water waste. Because of fracking, water can be lit on fire, and click this picture.
Just give it a second. Whoa.
I stopped by Principal Jeff Brown's office at the end of the evening. He shared some thoughts.
The 5th grade exhibition has been one of my favorite things that we've added to our school over these last few years as we've been on our IB journey. The 5th grade exhibition is just a 5th grade project. It's really a culmination of all of their years in the program. For the kids who are presenting this year, this is their second full year in the program. It's an opportunity for them to show off all the research skills that they've learned. It's an opportunity for them to show off their presenting skills. And one of the most challenging parts of my job is getting in front of hundreds of kids and hundreds of adults and just lots of people. And it's really exciting to watch our kids get up there with Prezi and PowerPoint and have the microphone in their hand and really get to speak to their peers and adults about a topic that they're really passionate about. So being able to watch them get that confidence to be able to get up in front of a group is just a really fun thing to watch. Those are opportunities that I don't think I ever had at their age. Public speaking was terrifying. The other thing that's been really neat is this is a self-driven project. So they decide what their topic is. They're responsible for researching it. All of the kids have to take an action. We have a Volt that's parked out in front of our building tonight for a group that was presenting on green energy. A group that I worked with sold red ribbons to help raise awareness for texting and driving and drinking and driving. We've had groups walk on the Pollyant Trail to pick up trash. We've had groups that was on Oxford TV to get to talk about their project. Every group has to take some form of an action to raise an awareness or to actually help solve the problem they were investigating. I don't think there's very many fifth graders that were thinking about problems in their community or in the world and trying to take action prior to seeing this. So that pride that they take has really been great to see them want to do something.
As a teacher and a principal, Jeff, how many of these have you seen now?
This is the second year that we've had a fifth grade exhibition here at Oxford Elementary School, but one of the things that we did before we became an IB school was we visited other schools. So between myself, IB coordinators, and fifth grade teachers, we probably visited 5 other schools doing the fifth grade exhibition so that we could learn before this opportunity. We are by far the biggest. We have 150 fifth graders that are doing this presentation, so it's a big undertaking. But it's also a great community, all of the IB schools, and so we do share quite a bit. I'm not sure exactly how many visitors we had tonight, but I know that we had people here from other schools that were interested in learning about exhibition tonight. So it's a great sharing amongst the IB community.
I don't know about you, but I know 1 or 2 people who still can't figure out where the Upper Peninsula is. Does it blow you away what these kids do?
You know, it's funny, I've sat in groups tonight, I've learned about texting and driving, I've learned about poverty throughout the world. We had a group that was anti-smoking, and they all have t-shirts that they wore to Meyer that said, "Ask me about smoking" on them, and they visited Meyer, and they stood there and they talked to the people that were brave enough to come to them. With technology so much at their fingertips and the ability to use that, kids can learn about whatever they want to. It's really not so much about just the teacher being the all-knowing person anymore. Kids can really explore on their own, and a big part of this project was giving the kids the opportunity to explore. It wasn't so much about the actual facts that they learned, but learning how to find information, learning how to put it together, and learning how to present it.
And choosing to do it.
And choosing to do it, taking action on their own. The actions that they took were their ideas with very little adult support. It was up to them to show off what they'd learned. When I was a kid, we learned from the book. The kids now, we're expecting them to learn and take action based on their learning.
IB in the elementary schools, all about who we are, where we are in place and time, self-expression, organization, and sharing the planet. And they're only 5th graders. Next time, we look at the next phase, MYP, the middle year program. Please join us. Thanks to Russell Currier on camera, Ryan Myers at the computer, Kyle Snage at the controls, and you for watching. See you next time on Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.